How's everybody doing today? I'm going to show you how to make the full complete drag racer program for your drag racer. You're going to have to copy this on your computer and do it yourselves. Let's get started. I'm going to hit the plus sign here. That should take me into a new project slowly. Alright, so right off the bat, I don't want to lose this. I'm going to call this drag timer. You can call it something similar. Oops, missed the G there. And then to change the project name, remember you have to go ahead and save it. So file, save project as, and let's call it dragster. And the first thing that I want to do here next to my start button is I'm actually going to take out a wait for time. I'm just going to wait for like 1 second. And the reason that I do this is because when I push the button on my drag racer, I don't want it to zoom out from my finger, because sometimes when you're pushing down, you can push it sideways or something. So I push the button, take my hand away, and then it goes about a second later, or exactly 1 second later. The second thing that I want to do is something that's new for you, but there's this timer feature here. And I'm actually going to measure time. No, I'm not. I'm going to reset time. And I'm resetting timer number 1. So I've just made a timer. Now it's time to get going. So if I have both of my motors facing the same way, then I can use a move steering block like this. But instead of having a amount of rotations or degrees that it turns for, I'm just going to turn it on. Of course, I want full power. Now be careful here, just like the program on the iPad, you either want 100 or negative 100 if your motors need to turn backwards to make your drag racer go forwards. I don't know. There's one other option here. Some of you have a motor on the front and then a motor on the back rather than two side-by-side motors. So what I like to do here is I put them underneath. Let's say those are A and D. On. In this case, usually one has to go forward and one has to go backwards in order for your robot to go forward. Then I will just drag this wire down and it will start both of them. That's for people who have a motor on the front and back, but for most of us, our drag racer, including the one that I showed in the video, has 2 motors on the side. So let's just review. Wait 1 second so that my finger doesn't mess the robot up when I push the start button. Reset a timer, timer number 1. Start both my motors going full speed and set to just the word on. Now we come down, remember these are called wait fors. So really our motor is going to be on and then it's going to wait for something to happen. And this is where that color sensor comes in that I had you use. I'm going to click here, choose the color sensor. And remember we did our readings with reflected light, and on my robot I got about 6 and 70. So I'm going to compare reflected light intensity. Compare reflected light intensity. And make sure that the port here is the port where your color sensor is plugged into. And we wanted to stop on white. Well, white was the larger number, so I want to choose the greater than option. Don't worry about the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 here. Just worry about the sign, and it gives you the words in case you forget what the signs are. Greater than. And even though I had 6 as my dark color reflection, I don't want to say greater than 6 because it might hit just like a lighter patch that is a 7 or an 8 or something. But remember, white was 70, so I feel fine saying greater than 50 because I don't think I'm going to have to worry about anything greater than 50 until I get to that white rectangle at the end of the racetrack. So once the color sensor in port 3 sees a reflection greater than 50, we want to do 2 things. We want to now we want to measure the time. That's on 1. And we also want to stop the motors. So the way we do that is we can just turn them off. And right here where it has the check, you notice it says brake at end true. We're going to say brake at end false. What this does is this cuts the power to your motors, but it lets them slow down naturally. If you have this check mark here, they will stop exactly at that white rectangle and actually back up a little bit because they'll go so far over. And it's bad for your gears, it's bad for your robot, it's bad for your motors. If you're going really fast, you're much better off. This is called coasting, is another word for this. Let's review one more time. Wait 1 second, start a timer, go really fast. When you see the white, measure the time and stop. And the last thing we're going to do here is I'm actually going to take out a loop. And in that loop, I'm going to put a display block. The thing I'm going to display is text in pixels. I'm going to keep these settings. The 00 actually starts, it starts the, it starts in the top left corner. It's not in the center of the screen like a grid. And then I'm going to take this, and I just want to make sure I get this last part right. Text, pixel grid, image, shape. I'm trying to remember where to wire this into. It won't go into there. It will go into there. And I think that is it. What this will do is this will take that time and it will put it on your screen continuously until you hit the stop button on your robot. So one more time from the top. Press the start button on your robot. It will wait a second. Start a timer. Start the motors. Wait for white. Stop the timer. Stop the motors slowly. And then print the time on the screen. And that's all there is to it. Let me know if you have any problems, but please go to the computer and try making the program yourself first before you ask me for help. All right, thank you very much. I made a mistake. I knew I made a mistake when I was making the program, and I just double checked, and I figured out what it was. So this wire bothered me. I felt like it was going in the wrong place. Here's the real deal. This is the wrong way to do this wire. What you want to do is click where it says the word Mindstorms here, and then I'm changing it from words to wired. And now this extra little text box popped up with this perfect little plug here that will take that time and pop it right there. That's what I wanted to show you. That is the full and complete program now. All right, like I said, try it out, test it. If you need help, please ask for help. Thank you.